it is going to, oh my, that was actually kind of dope. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Motorfest, and in this video we will be looking at the Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon 392. This is obviously going to be a new vehicle in the Crew franchise for that matter, so seeing this SUV in the game really is going to be a great joy, guy. No. Seeing this truck in the game, though, honestly was pretty surprising. When driving this thing back in the beta, I was like, dang, is that a 392 Rubicon? And, well, it does turn out, guys, it is indeed a 392. So, if you are wondering, it's the exact same 392 V8 engine that is going to be in the 392 Charger and or the Challenger. So, throwing this thing in a Jeep is obviously going to be insane. I think in real life, it's like 0 to 60 in around, I think, 4.5 seconds. So for a big Jeep with 35-inch tires, that's obviously pretty dang quick. Now, I would say a lot of people are probably going to say, well, let's throw a Hellcat motor in it, which I would have to say that would be insane, but I would also have to guess that most likely how, like, the emission stuff is going, that is probably not going to happen. But with that being said, though, guys, I am insanely happy we actually get to see a Rubicon 392 in this game. I was honestly waiting for, like, a big Jeep to be added, so we obviously did get that here with this one. One thing I have to admit, though, I would actually like for you to be able to close, like, the top part of it, but I guess they most likely did that on purpose to see, like, the inside of it. Also, like, the kind of vehicle you would most likely see cruising around a Hawaii type of place, so I guess that would make a lot of sense, though, how the truck is obviously opened up with, like, a big sense of, like, a Hawaii... Fuck. I guess that would make a lot of sense with the Jeep being basically open because you are obviously in like a tropical type of area, and I do see a lot of people here in Florida driving their Jeeps exactly like this, so I can definitely understand that. But without further ado though, guys, let's go do an outside look of this Rubicon 392 right now, and also take this thing on a quick test drive. Now, spawning right outside, guys, with the lovely Rubicon 392, I absolutely love the way this Jeep looks. Like, it has some crazy big beefy tires on it, which I would say on a Jeep that's this quick, having a 35-inch tire is honestly pretty insane, so I would most likely expect the overall stability to basically be terrible, but I really do love, like, the open part of this car. Like, it really does make you feel like you're actually on an island, which, because, you know, you kind of are. But besides that, though, guys, it's also going to be a V8, and it sounds awesome. And then, of course, moving over to the interior view of the car here, guys, I have to admit there is a few pretty nice things about this car. No. Now, moving over to the interior view of the Rubicon 392. So the first thing you guys probably notice is the big screen in the middle, saying Rubicon 392 because, you know, it kind of is. Then you'll also see all of the details of every single button on the truck, which is pretty dope. And obviously the mirrors do not work at the moment, but... And then, of course, you also have a nice piece of detail for the back seat, which is never going to have anybody actually back there, at least on this game. But who knows, maybe you guys have some nice passengers that would like to be in the back of a Rubicon. That would be one heck of an experience, especially in a 392, but you will then see, guys, the instrument cluster on the middle also has a nice piece of detail. So the left side, you obviously have the RPM reader. The right side is indeed going to be the speed you are going. Also, the main speed you are going is also in the middle. To the left is going to be an actual, like, temperature gauge. And then finally, the gas gauge is on the right. Besides all that, though, guys, let's go drive the 392 Rubicon right now. So the first thing I have to admit about this truck is I absolutely love the sound of this engine, and I'm probably going to love the sound of any V8 for that matter, but this thing really does sound awesome, guys. You also hear it almost exactly like a real 392, which I have to admit, I do have to give Ubisoft credit on that and or Ivory Tower, but overall, guys, a few things I did notice about driving this truck. So the first thing I have to admit, it's probably not going to be like the best truck in the class, and the reason for that is going to come down to how basically beefy this thing actually is. So of course it is going to be a V8, so it has some of the best acceleration in this entire class, but with that it is obviously going to have some flaws. So the first thing is going to be the gigantic 35+ inch tires, and or you really can tell this thing basically slides everywhere. Like, one thing I did notice, guys, about the Jeep is, yes, it obviously does lose grip a bit easier, probably because of those big beefy tires that are most likely going to be as thick as a certain Apex character. But I have to admit, guys, one of the craziest things about this thing, though, is obviously it is fast, but it is going to have a drawback of basically losing grip in every direction. So you will basically be finding yourself going back and forth and also trying to find grip, whereas like something with a Tacoma, it doesn't have that issue. So jumping into a rally raid event, guys, I also put this on level 5 to see how bad the AI actually are with like something like a Jeep here. So it is going to be an interesting war to the end of this event, but nonetheless, guys, the Rubicon is by far not going to be, I would say, like the best rally raid truck in the Crew Motorfest, but at the same time, I have to admit, though, it's most likely not going to be the worst either. So yes, it is not going to be like the best handling truck in the game. Like, I'm sure many people that most likely have this truck, because if you are wondering, it is only like $190,000, so most people are most likely going to buy it pretty early on. But if you are looking for something that does handle insanely well, this is probably not the best vehicle for that. If I actually had to pick something to buy, I would definitely recommend buying the Tacoma over the Rubicon 392 in basically every way. Like, yes, this truck does maybe actually accelerate a bit quicker, and you can also argue that the Rubicon is indeed probably going to sound better and or look better as well, but I have to admit, guys, the Tacoma really is going to be a better truck in basically every way. Now, at the same time, though, I have to admit, even though the Rubicon might not be like the best rally raid vehicle compared to many of the others, I am having an absolute blast driving this thing. Like, it is going to... Oh my, that was actually kind of dope. Not only is it going to be insanely fast, guys, it does handle great. I also missed a checkpoint. Let's restart now. Oh, and I probably lost. Can we possibly come back from that? I don't think so. I might have just failed myself in this one. Kind of unfortunate. But overall, though, guys, even though sometimes you cannot drive at all whatsoever driving a Rubicon, I still really love the way this thing does drive. And I would say, even though it's not going to be the best truck out there, it's still an absolute blast. Even though I completely failed in that, guys, I would definitely say the Rubicon is by far going to be a great truck that you can basically run in anything. Is it going to be like the best overall vehicle? I would say no, but even then, most players are probably looking for like a collector's type of vehicle they can use. And I would say the Rubicon is going to be insanely fun in summits and or PvP. Like, sure, you might get outrun by other vehicles like the Tacoma and or some of the other vehicles like the 959. Because one thing I did want to point out, guys, with the Rubicon is, yes, this thing is not the fastest either. For example, guys, the Rubicon only does around 160 miles an hour for a top speed, so it's obviously not going to be the fastest rally raid car out there. I wouldn't say it's going to be the slowest either, because I have tested a few other ones that are definitely going to be a tad slower, so at least it isn't going to be like the slowest rally raid truck in the entire class. Overall, though, guys, I really am liking the Rubicon 392, so I would definitely recommend taking a look at it. And let me know what you guys think about the Rubicon in the comments below. And as always, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more insight.